All right, today I'd like to see how well a slicing cut works with various swords. This is something you often see in sparring. You know, people end up in a bind and then they just kind of drop under and just go for this kind of slice. And with a sharp sword, it clearly works on naked skin. I've already cut this a little bit just from incidental contact. This is a very sharp sword. But I want to see how well that actually works with clothing, because normally people didn't fight naked, unless you're some crazy Celt. So here's the test subject, a very realistic flesh analog. You have a skin layer and a subcutaneous fat layer, which is this yellow sticky stuff here. And then you've got the muscle layer. And this is as realistic as it gets. In fact, this is, as far as I can tell, this is more realistic than using pig carcasses and such, because organic tissue changes after death. You know, it stiffens and dries out and all of that. This here is nice and moist. And yeah, so like I just said, with a bit of incidental contact, I've already started to slice into this because this is pretty sharp. By the way, the saran wrap I only put on to keep the piece clean. Shouldn't make much of a difference for the cut because this is really easy to cut through. I'm gonna start out with this right here, which is a piece of gambeson. This is pretty light duty. What I have underneath there is a lot of layers of linen. This is actually more historically accurate than this. This is really more winter clothing, padding, just very light armor, if you want to even call it that. And this I just have on there so I don't, if I slice all the way through, so I don't cut poor Bob here. He already has some war scars. Okay, so I've just tied it on top so it can hang a little bit. It's still fairly tight fit, but it's not totally compressed. So we'll see how this goes. So this, I would say, is really the equivalent to sturdy clothing. What people wore in the late Middle Ages and Renaissance is definitely a lot sturdier than what we have nowadays. All right, so I'm assuming I'm in a bind here and the opponent leaves the bind, moves the sword up, which gives me the opportunity to go in for the slice. So this did absolutely nothing. It didn't even cut the top layer. Let me do it from the other side. There we go, that was way better. Well, color me surprised. I didn't think it would do that much. 3.5 centimeters or 1.5 inches, something like that, into the soft tissue. So yeah, that would suck. Now that would not be a fight ender immediately. Lethal long term, especially with the medicine of the time available, but this guy could go on to fight for a while longer. Keep in mind, the way I did this, what I did not do was this, you know, just with the arms. I actually moved my body into it. All right, let's try a short blade. Cutting is not something that people generally associate with the Roman gladius, but it was intended to be used for cuts as well. And this one is pretty sharp. So let's see what I can do here. So just a slice. That didn't do anything. Okay, so I can't get through the top layer here. This may be because I only have one hand. If I have two, I have more stability because there's 2 points of contact. I can press harder and I can put more of my body weight into it, basically. For I spent quite a bit of time struggling with this. It's a little tricky, or maybe I'm just not smart enough to figure out a better way to do it, but oh well. Okay, this is a Han Dynasty sword, very sharp. I've done cutting with it before. From the left first. That didn't do anything. No. Okay, I'm trying to really put force into it, but this doesn't really seem to go anywhere. I'll try with 2 hands now. That at least cut into the surface. So No, that's not doing it. All right, let's try this nodachi. It's fairly short for a nodachi, but definitely longer than a katana and even a tachi. So, if I start here, come down there, slice. That just got the top layer. Okay, a bit more force. No, not really. Huh, interesting. Again. Huh, it doesn't want to do it. I'll try a push cut instead. No? Okay, let's see. I haven't done test cutting with this before, but it is sharp. Definitely cuts the paper without a problem. One more attempt. Nope. It's not getting through. Okay, time for the Kriegsmesser. Let's see how that goes. Huh, that didn't cut any more than the surface either. Starting to wonder if I changed anything with the setup. No. Nope. No, it doesn't get through. Okay, this is confusing. Was it just a lucky shot with this one, or can I reproduce it? Let's see. Oh, no. No problem at all. Look at that. Is this just a matter of sharpness? Could be. Damn, that is deep. That's what she said. Let's see. 5 centimeters in. 2 inches. Okay, interesting. What is it about this sword that just wrecks it while the others struggle with it? Okay, I'll try a push cut and I'll do it from the side to make sure that I'm really just flat on, because the problem is if I end up catching the edge here, it's easier to cut into. So I just want to eliminate that. Okay, push. All right. Okay, that did not work. That could be it. Yeah, if I go flat on the front, it's not really happening. Okay, so now I'm going for the edge here deliberately to see. No? This is just getting more confusing. No. Huh. Nope, this won't do it. There's some variable that makes a difference. I thought it was getting it from the edge, but from the corner of the piece, I mean, but even when I do it deliberately, it doesn't seem to happen. Okay, now I'll try just regular cloth. So this would be light clothing. More than a t-shirt, but, you know, kind of like sweatshirt, thin hoodie maybe. Now, one thing that makes this a little tricky is cutting it flat like this is going to be more difficult than a real body, because there's some level of curvature, of course, more with some people than with others. But even if you have six-pack abs, it's not going to be a perfectly flat surface. So any kind of bumps or, you know, round, uneven surface allows it to cut better, because then you're contacting less material at a time, so the cut can get started there and then drag through the rest. So that's the problem here, but of course that corner, that's really more like an arm. That wouldn't be straight up torso, generally, unless you slice from up here, but then you're dealing with the collarbones, and that complicates things in a different way. So I will really make sure that I don't accidentally get it from that corner. Okay, that didn't work. Ugh, damn it. This setup here is really not ideal. Can't say it is. But I also don't want to cover it in a bunch of tape, because that brings its own problems. Straight on. Damn. I didn't just want to put it on a rigid surface because then that's just not realistic. Let's try that. Okay, it cut the cloth partially. Okay, you can definitely see the cut mark here, but it didn't get all the way through. Which is weird, considering that's just a couple layers of cloth. Okay, so there it went through, but not enough to actually score it. I'll try a push cut as well. It just doesn't want to do it. Let's do it without the cloth. That should be easy enough. So without the cloth, naked person. Yeah, of course that works. Okay, that was better. Yeah, that cut pretty deep. No surprise. So this was about 3 centimeters. All right, now I'll do it with a percussive cut. So I'm going to cut like this. Yeah, unsurprisingly, that went all the way through. Looks like I have enough material left for one more proper cut, and I'm going to go all the way over here to really make sure that I'm not hitting that edge. So I'll do it this way. That should be good. Yeah. At this point, it's just done. That is done. If you want sound effects for a horror movie, that's pretty gross. So unfortunately, that was not as conclusive as I was hoping. This is not a scientific test anyway, because for that you need to have a machine set up that applies the exact same force at the same angle every time consistently, and I can't do that. I'm a human being, so there's going to be a limit there. So it's really kind of tentative. Blade sharpness most definitely has to do with it. Technique has to do with it. I might have just done it better on the slicing cuts that went through compared to the ones that didn't. Either way, I think it goes to show just how much easier it is to cut with proper body mechanics and follow through with a hew that actually has some concussive force to it, as opposed to just this pure slice. There's always going to be a slicing action in that because the blade moves in an arc. And I think it's mainly the cloth that makes a difference, because a proper gambeson is pretty hard to cut through even with a good hew. But this kind of material, it's not that difficult if the edge is sharp enough and you execute the cut well. But the slice against sturdy clothing even, I still have my doubts. Even though one of the first slicing cuts with this totally surprised me, because that was way easier than I would have guessed. So there's definitely some uncertainty and some variables in this that I didn't account for. I wish this had gone better. So take it with a sack of salt. Don't generalize from this. I hope you enjoyed it anyway, if just for the entertainment value. Thanks for watching and have a good one, folks. Okay, just for the grossness of it.